Here's a couple more theorems in this section of 4.2 or 4.3. That's 4.2, I guess, even though it says 4.3 at the top of this. Again, postulates are statements that we have to accept as being true. Theorems are things that we can prove, and corollaries are actually another theorem that logically follow another theorem that can also be proven. Here are two theorems. First one's the trickiest of the two. The second one I'm almost just barely going to mention. This first one I want to show you an example of. It's called the exterior angle theorem. It says the measure of an exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the measure of its remote interior angles. And up here they say that the measure of angle 4 is equal to the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2. Okay, well, now think about this for a second. Do you agree that angle 4 and angle 3 are called a linear pair? And if they are a linear pair, then they are supplementary. Okay, now, angle 1 and angle 2, if you, those two angles, when you add them together, don't they also have to be supplementary to angle 3 because all the angles of a triangle add up to 180? So let me say it again. These two have to add up to 180. These three have to add up to 180. So shouldn't this angle here be equal to the sum of those two angles there? There's a theorem that we had that said supplements of congruent angles or the same angle are congruent. This angle right here is supplementary to angle 3. Angle 1 and angle 2, if you add them together, also are supplementary to angle 3 because all the angles of a triangle have to add up to 180. So then that means that angle 4 and angle 1 and angle 2, when you add them together, have to be equal. Okay, so that's the theorem. It's kind of tricky. It takes a little bit of practice. Let me show you one example. Okay, and so here we have an exterior angle. Okay, and what an exterior angle is, basically you take one side of the triangle and just keep on going. That makes it an exterior angle. It's outside the triangle. These two angles right here are called remote interior angles. Now think about what the word remote means. The word remote means away from, like a remote cabin is away from the city. Okay, and so these two angles are considered remote interior angles. They're on the inside and they're a ways away from this angle over here. The theorem says that the exterior angle, 6z minus 9, has to be equal to the sum of these two angles, 2z plus 1 plus 90 degrees. Let's solve that. 6z minus 9 equals 2z plus 91. I'm going to subtract 2z from both sides. I get 4z minus 9 is equal to 91. Add 9. I get 4z equals 100. Divide by 4. I get z equals 25. Now, I didn't give any directions on this. So I just found z. If I were to find the measures of angles, I would plug it in. Okay, so for this one, 2 times 25 plus 1 equals 50 plus 1, which is equal to 51. And then this angle is 6 times 25 minus 9, which is equal to 150 minus 9, which is equal to 141 degrees. Okay, and then the second theorem, again, I'm just barely going to mention this one. It's called the third angles theorem. If two angles of one triangle are congruent to two angles of another triangle, then their third angles are congruent. So if you look at this picture, you have arc marks. L is congruent to R. We have angle M is congruent to angle S. Since these two angles of this triangle are congruent to these two angles of the other triangle, don't their third angles have to be the same because they all have to add up to 180? And so I'm going to triple arc mark. We don't see that very often. I'm going to triple arc mark angle T. That's called the third angles theorem. Thanks for listening.